On Turkey, everybody good? All right.
Okay, John, there was media speculation about the message that published by the U.S. Embassy in Ankara 2 days before the deadly attack on Sunday.
Yeah.
The message warned the Americans to stay away from Ankara city center due to potential terrorist attack.
Right.
The notice issued by your embassy, widely criticized by the people in Turkey. Even some of them said that the U.S. government is on the side of the PKK, the militants. So could you please clarify that did the embassy run this notice without getting intelligence from Turkish officials? Did they get the information from Turks?
I've heard this interesting little rumor. Let me just put a fork in it right now. The information that we shared with the public about the concerns, security concerns we had, which is our obligation. We have to do that. Was received by Turkish authorities. I mean, it was because we have a good information sharing arrangement with Turkey that allowed us to issue this warning. So Turkish authorities very much were a source for this kind of information. And I'm not even going to dignify the charge that the United States is in any way cooperating or assisting or condoning the actions of groups like the PKK, which we've said before is a foreign terrorist organization. It is absolutely ridiculous.
So the Turks usually sharing information all the time with you?
We have, look, I think you can understand, I'm not going to get into a great amount of detail about the sharing of information and intelligence. What I can tell you is in this case, the information that permitted us to provide that notice was information that came from obviously many sources, but the Turkish authorities helped us develop the information we needed to issue that warning, and it's good that we did. That's what we're supposed to do.
Okay.
What do you think it says about the atmosphere in Turkey that pro-government newspapers and commentators would leap to conspiracy theories like the one you just tried to shoot down? This is, after all, a NATO ally of yours.
It is, and they still are.
Yeah.
And it's a relationship that remains strong in the face of these sorts of threats, as the warning itself proving.
Does it? You've talked about in here the harsh criticism of Ambassador Bass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now this kind of thing.
I'm not saying it's not I'm not saying it isn't an uncomplicated, or that it isn't.
Well, is it a relationship in trouble?
No, it's not a relationship in trouble.
No?
No.
The Turkish government is closing down newspapers, seizing newspapers that appear to be fomenting rumors that the United States is in cahoots with the PKK and conducting terrorist attacks in the capital based on the fact that you put out a warning, and they're going after your ambassador. Well, how is it not a relationship in trouble?
I'm trying to, as you run through that, I'm trying to figure out how you're coming to the conclusion that it is. I mean, we are NATO allies.
Okay.
We are friends and partners. We are not going to agree on everything, Matt. And when we don't, we're open and honest about it. And as I said, the criticism of Ambassador Bass was unwarranted and undeserved. Turkey has no better friend than Ambassador Bass. We're not going to see eye to eye with them on everything, but it doesn't mean that the relationship is invalid or deteriorating or diminishing. It means that we've got some friction points. And what's healthy about the relationship is that we're able to share our concerns about that. We may never come to agreement on some of these issues, and we recognize that, but it doesn't mean that we're going to stop raising them. And that we can do that we can have those tough discussions and dialogue is the sign of a relationship that is at its core healthy. Yeah.
Can I have a clarification on this issue on Turkey
and NATO? Because I believe I heard last week in this room that membership in NATO is conditioned on democracy. Is it? Is it conditioned on a country being democratic?
It's a democratically based alliance.
Wasn't Turkey a member of NATO when it was actually governed by a military junta?
I don't know the history, Saeed. I don't. I don't.
Turkey
You're missing the larger point here.
Right.
Okay. Look, you're missing the larger point.
Right.
Turkey is an important ally and a friend, and as I've said before, when we were talking about press freedom. Their democracy matters to us. The health of their democracy matters to us. Their constitution enshrines certain democratic principles to include free speech and freedom of the press and free and peaceful protests. And we want to see Turkey succeed. We want to see the Turkish people enjoy all those basic freedoms enshrined in their constitution. And when we see indications that that's not happening, or that those principles are at risk, we raise it. We raise it privately, Ambassador Bass does, and we raise it publicly here from this podium, and we're going to continue to do that. Yeah.
Also,